you'd like to follow along at home and recreate the project I'm about to show you, I've put 2 files in our Week 3 folder of the Canvas course site in the modules. So Week 3 module for summer 2021. One is Dialog Demo Strings, which is our XML resources for strings. You can just copy and paste these into the project in your strings.xml file. The other one is a zip file containing some images, and we get 2 PNG files that we use for icons. They're just in the drawable folder. There's not 5 versions of these. Andy Robot. So if you didn't realize that the logo for Android had a name, he is named Andy. Makes sense, Andy Android. Although the founder of Android, Andy Rubin, it might be named after him. I'm not really sure. And then we have an icon of a dog. And then there are the various drawable folders that contain the image of the Arizona flag. So you can unzip those and you can install those using the resource manager for your project. Android has AlertDialogs, which for those coming out of C# be very similar to the message box that we've used, or even the input box that comes out of Visual Basic that we've also used in C# by importing it in. And these just display very nice dialogues. I'm just going to show you what they do, and then we'll talk about how they're created. The first one is a simple message alert. So we can specify an icon, a title, and a message, and then a button. And I chose OK as the text of that button, but can be anything. This is called the positive button. So when I click OK, it simply dismisses. We can have 2 buttons. One viewed positive and one is negative, so I did a yes and no. So this one, the title is OS Failure Alert, your device is about to fail. Is your data backed up? And you could say no or yes. Each of these brings up a snack bar. So if I say yes, yes, good for you. Whereas if I say no, the snack bar is oh, too bad. We can have 3 actions. So here we have a yes, no, and a neutral button, which I named it not sure. So the question is, do you like dogs? Yes, I get woof woof. If I choose no, so notice each of the buttons we can specify various things to do. I just did a snack bar, was all I did for the buttons. Meow meow. And then if I say not sure, give a dog a chance. Now, so we have those 3 different buttons, but we can also add in other items. So there's a multi-choice opportunity where we can have checkboxes, and I can choose, say, hamburger and salad, and click submit, and I get selected items, hamburger and salad. We can also do single choices where we have radio buttons. So these will be mutually exclusive. I can only choose one. And I'm told what I selected. Then I can also incorporate a view, and so here I incorporated an EditText. Click submit, and it shows me what I entered. So we can capture that information and use that in our program. But since we can add a view, I questioned whether I could add a linear layout. So that's what I did. I entered a linear layout here where I have an EditText widget and an image view. Same thing. You're limited to one view, but it can be a container that contains multiple views or widgets. We're going to focus on the alert dialogues here in this video, and then in the next video we'll look at how to do a dialog fragment, which is presented in your Horton textbook. And he makes the argument that you should do that instead of the alert dialogues because these may not necessarily provide data persistence through the activity lifecycle. So the alert dialogues are really easy to use. The dialog fragments allow you to do a custom dialog and to change your layout, kind of like what I did with the linear layout. And then I'm going to show you another way of creating an XML layout file and using that in your program. So just to give you a little bit of a preview, here's the dialog fragment, and I can choose which language I want to use. I can say Kotlin. Again, I'm going to get a message coming up at the bottom of the snack bar. And then here's a build your own dialog. I wanted to create a multiple choice quiz that might be populated through a database. So you get an image, text view, and 4 answer buttons. So if I choose Alaska, I'm told the correct answer was B, Arizona. If I do choose the correct answer, I get the same thing from Colorado or New Mexico. If I choose Arizona, I'm told that is correct. So we'll look at those two in the next video. Let's look at how the alert dialogs are created. So here's my interface. I just have a bunch of buttons. I did a constraint layout, which I named CL main, and then it simply contains all these buttons and the text view at the top. And I use constraints to put this together. So my first button, Alert Dialog 1, calls an on-click event of Show Alert 1. And so this is Show Alert 2, Show Alert 3, Show Alert 4, 5, 6, and 7. So let's go look at that code. So in the code, I created two variables, correct answer A and QNum. I'm going to use those in that very last custom dialog. Kind of ignore those for now. So this is a function for Show Alert 0, which I didn't actually use, but it works on the same principle. I created a value called myAlert, which is equaling AlertDialog.builder, and the context in the parentheses is this, referring to my main activity. And then we can set properties of myAlert using methods. So myAlert.setTitle, and I can put in the title that I want. I can do the same thing with .setMessage. And here I have a hard-coded message, but I can also use a resource string, or might be coming from a string variable. I can set the icon, and just referring to r.drawable, and there's that Andy robot that we saw earlier. And then we have an ability to set the positive button. That's the button on the bottom right. And the text that I want, in this case, was understood. And then I'm using a lambda expression here where I'm specifying a reference which refers to this alert. I can have a variable name, but since it's not being used beyond this, I just used an underscore, which replaces it. That's recommended by Kotlin. But you could put a name here like Fred. And then we have a lambda expression of what we want to have happen. And so what I'm going to do here is show a snack bar. And then I dismiss the interface that causes the alert button to go away. So here's our one that we just saw as far as show alert 1, same thing, create my alert builder. The one thing I did different here was I used chaining, which means since I'm referencing val myAlert is my object, I don't have to keep saying myAlert.setTitle, myAlert.setMessage. If I haven't used any other values, I can just simply call the method, and this is called chaining. So .setTitle, I want Arizona weather alert. .setMessage, there's an excessive heat warning today for the Phoenix metro area with a high temperature of 138. And then this is the Unicode symbol for the degrees symbol. So Unicode 00B0, F for Fahrenheit expected. So 138 degrees Fahrenheit expected today. Set icon, Android.r-drawable. So here I'm calling the Android icon of Dialog Alert. This is going to be the little exclamation mark in a triangle. Then I'm going to add the button for positive and then .show. So no difference between what you saw up above in Show Alert 0 and this one, other than I use chaining to reduce some of the typing. Let's take a look at button alert 2. It's the same thing here, except I added in a negative button. And the information is a little bit different, so as far as the title, the message, what that button says. But again, I'm using a snack bar and dismissing it. If they choose the negative button, making a snack bar and dismissing it. Now, one thing I also set here, which I didn't up above, is myAlert.setCancelable to false. Let me show you what that accomplishes. I'm going to go back to my emulator. So I bring up Dialog 1, and I click outside of it, it dismisses it. Dialog 2, though, if I click outside of it, it doesn't dismiss. I have to interact with it. And I think in most cases, that's probably what you want. This would be called a modal dialog, meaning it requires user activity, whereas this one would be viewed as a mode-less. I can get by without doing anything to it. Let me hide my emulator. So that's the only difference there. And then alert 3, same thing. Set the title, message, icon, positive button, negative button, and a neutral button. And so the neutral button here, again, just shows a snack bar and dismisses. And again, I did the set cancelable to false and then showed my alert. For alert, I created a value called selected list. As an array list, this is going to contain what the user chose, what items they selected, and they can select multiples, which is why I used an array list. Then I have another array called items, which has the items for our checkboxes: chicken sandwich, hamburger, hot dog, pizza, salad. Again, I'm going to create a alert builder, set the title, and here we're going to set multiple choice items. I could also set a message as well. I didn't do that in this one. And I'm going to give it the items. That's going to be my 5 items up here as the first parameter. Checked item is null, meaning nothing is checked. And then again the lambda, and here I'm going to say if it is checked, then we're going to add it to the list, and if it's unchecked, we're going to remove it from the list. Positive button is just submit, in which case we go through that list, iterate through it with a for loop, add that to a string, and we're going to display that string then in our snack bar. Same thing here. This one though is going to be radio buttons. So again, I've selected item. I'm going to choose one item, so I don't need an array list there, just one item. The items here in this case is C++, C#, Java, Kotlin, Python, and Swift. We're going to create our alert builder, set the title, and here we're going to set single choice items. So for our checkboxes, it was set multi-choice items. Here the method is set single choice items. Again, I'm going to pass it my list of items, my array. I'm going to set checked item to -1, which means nothing is checked. No radio buttons can be chosen by default. My interface, my choice lambda, we're going to take the selected item equals items my choice, which is going to be the index that they choose. Submit button, again, snack bar, dismiss, set cancelable to false, and show. Here is our edit text. I created a string variable called response. I created an edit text view that I named my input. And then I created linear layout params in terms of how do I want this to be laid out. So I'm going to match the parent, both height and width, and then I can set some margins. So I have here a set margins of the left to 60, and then I apply that set layout params of ET params to my edit text. Create my alert builder, set the title, set the message, and here we're going to use .setView and tell it what view I want. I want my input. That's going to be our edit text. Create a positive submit button. Again, I'm going to show snack bar, dismiss, set cancelable to false, and show. So alert 7 then is where I wanted to take a linear layout and have multiple views. So no different than what we saw for doing the edit text, but here I created a linear layout, which I called alert layout, gave it an orientation of vertical, set the layout params, again match parent both height and width, applied those params to my alert layout, and then I added some children here. My input is that edit text we saw earlier. So again, I'm going to create some params, set the margins. So here I had the params equaling the same as layout params, and that's actually probably a bad practice because since it's really pointing to that, when I make changes to the margins, it will affect the margins of the layout params as well, since I'm using that for the alert layout. So I'm going to add the view of my input to alert layout, and then I created an image using an image view. Set the resource to that AZ flag. Again, set the params. This one I did a little bit differently. So this one I wanted to wrap context. And then I wanted that flag to be much smaller, so I set some margins both left and right to get it to be much smaller. I also set the height overall, so it will conform to the height. And I experimented with these numbers a little bit. I was getting some margins top and bottom that I wanted to get away from. And so I set the scale type to center inside. Then I'm going to add a set on-click listener to my image, so I can make that image clickable and have it do something. So if you click the flag, it actually presents a snack bar with the text Arizona flag. And I didn't demonstrate that earlier, so I will come back and show that in a minute. And then I set the layout params to that image view, and then I added that image view to my alert layout. Create my alert builder, set title, set message, set the view to the alert layout, create a positive button, showed a snack bar, set cancelable to false. And then I wanted to have the cursor in that edit view, so I said my input dot request focus. That'll put the flashing cursor on that line for the edit text, and then I showed the alert. Okay, let me just go back to my emulator. So I'm going to bring up alert 7. So notice the cursor is flashing there. If I click the flag, I get Arizona flag as my snack bar. And if I put in a name and click submit, I get that as you entered in my snack bar. Now I notice on the flag this is graying out the background when the dialog is open. That snack bar is a little dark to see. So you might want to have it, if they click the flag, it dismissed, and then you would see the snack bar much more clearly. That's an example where I didn't want to dismiss the alert, I wanted to continue on. So that is how we create alert dialogs and use them in our projects. If you just jumped into this video, you can see all the videos from the Android App Development Cohort playlist by clicking on the image in the lower right. And if you'd like to be alerted to future videos that I create, you can click my picture up in the top right and subscribe to the channel.